In our current economic market, many people have had to make the decision not to move house, but instead to extend and refurbish the existing house they're living in. There are also those who are happy living in their street, but want to adapt their home for a better quality of life. I'm going to look at two very different houses and to see how they've been transformed. This Victorian house was extended at the back to accommodate a growing family. So Michael, this looks like the old house ends here and the new extension begins.
The old house ends here, where we go from the kitchen, step down to the family room. And we then made this linked space which acts as a study and an office, and then there's a playroom.
So it's very interesting, the tree set in between the two elements of the extension.
Yeah, I mean, the pear tree was a kind of major feature of the garden, and we wanted to kind of really base the extension around that, and that you'd see from the family room past the tree to the playroom.
And was it to get more light, or for what reason?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of it was about light, that we would open up the house to the garden, which was really something that the clients were looking for.
And that's a lovely sort of an organic thing, but did it restrict you in terms of the use of space?
By extending right out to the boundary of the house, we kind of gained the space that we needed.
It must give some privacy then to the end room.
I think that was something that was important to them, that from the kitchen they'd be able to see that the kids are playing away happily, but that they'd have some kind of separation from them as well.
So that space in between the kitchen and playroom, is there a use for it?
We made it really as a kind of thick wall that would contain some storage and would contain a desk where they could keep the computer. And so part of it as well was that would be a computer that the kids could use when they were getting older.
So did it require planning permission?
It did require planning because it was quite a large extension, and we obviously had to discuss it with the neighbours, but planners didn't have any particular issue because it wasn't visible from the street.
Is this an extension in the true sense of the word?
I suppose we still feel that it's kind of integrated into the house, and we did refurbish the existing kitchen, and then there were certain small pieces of work that we did in the main house, but we were sort of clearly trying to make a new element at the back of the house. We designed these screens particularly so that this would open up and then the stone floor would run right through from inside to outside.
This is a wonderful example of an extension that breathes new life into a period home whilst maintaining the integrity of the original building and at the same time embracing a generous back garden. So Gráinne, I bet your quality of life has changed immensely since you had this extension done.
The new extension and the rest of the house, it's almost like having an old house and a new house. And while we still try to use the reception rooms in the original part of the house a lot, this part is really our family part of the house. And I suppose the reason that we decided to have the extension built in the first place was when our third child was on its way, and we felt that we needed more family space. So it's almost like having two separate houses and the best of both worlds.
Generally speaking, as an architect, when someone asks me to design an extension to their existing house, we end up refurbishing the entire house, which is pretty much what we're going to see now. This three-bedroom terrace at the end of the row has been extended, refurbished and completely transformed. So Brendan, you're the architect on this, yeah?
That's right, yeah.
And can you tell me how you recreated the spaces, which are very different space to what you'd expect from the outside?
I mean, the first move really was that we just wanted to open up the whole front of the house, so that when you came in, you got a sense of what the rest of the house would be like. So this room here is a little snug. They wanted an open plan, but they didn't want visitors to sort of step straight into the open plan.
It's almost like an ante-room. It's a lovely threshold into the rest of the house, and you know, where you see a different set of scales going on. What happened here?
We basically took out the small box room that would have been above the stairs, and this may seem counterintuitive to lose a room, but it opens up this entire space, and it tells you about the house. So it's a surprise. It's a much more generous space than you expected.
It's a much bigger space than
what you'll expect. The space could potentially be very dark. By putting a roof light right along here, it illuminates this, and there's enough light back there as well. If you can imagine, the original kitchen would have been in this space here. This is the external wall of the original house there. The kitchen was right in that space, so absolutely much bigger. The greatest asset these houses, like so many houses in Dublin have, of course, is their back garden.
And then from this point, we have a really good vista of the expanse of the extension.
The reason, in a sense, that we were able to do such a extensive reworking of this house is because it's part of a terrace. If you could imagine this as only a semi-detached house, you probably wouldn't be able to build so extensively because it would make the entire semi-detached house asymmetric.
So Brendan, why did you use a mixture between white plaster and timber?
The rendered part, the white part, matches the existing houses in the row. The timber kind of softens the transition between the house and the garden. The cedar cladding that you see is horizontal, so it kind of keeps the scale of the building down. The same idea at the front of the house is a glimpse of the timber, and you see, on the front of the house there's also a pergola that kind of helps to tie in the original house with the new element. I think this shows people that they can take what are very standard houses and really turn it into something quite different at the end of the day. This is a very typical house type, and this is just one example of how it can be entirely reworked.